Hello everyone, welcome to apcalculus. So let's solve this beautiful question on the graph. It says the figure shows the graph of f dash, the derivative of the function f from 0 to 2. So you can see this is the graph of the derivative of f. What is the value of x at which the absolute minimum of f occurs? So out of these 5 options, we have to figure out at which value of x the absolute minimum occurs. Now, first of all, we have to decide where is the absolute minimum. So you can say first thing that absolute minimum occurs at two places, at endpoints and at critical points. These are the two places where the absolute minimum occurs. Now what are critical points? Critical points are those points at which f dash x is 0 or undefined. These are the two places where the critical points are there. Now f dash x is equal to 0 or undefined. So in this graph we can see this is the graph of f dash. So here directly we can see that the f dash is 0 at this one. So this 1 is the critical point and the 0 and 2 are the end point of this interval. So we can say at the 1 this is the critical point because f dash x is 0 at this point, and other places we have 0 and the 2. So these are the three places at which we can figure out where it is the absolute minimum or absolute maximum. Now if you look at this graph, now let's analyze this graph over here. In this particular graph you can see this is the graph of f dash before 0 to between 0 to 1. In this interval of 0 to 1 the graph is above the x-axis. So we can see from 0 to 1 f dash x is positive. F dash x positive means because in this interval this graph is lying above the x-axis. So graph of f dash is positive. It means f is increasing. So you can say before 1 the f was increasing, right? And from 1 to 2 you can see that the f dash is less than 0 because the graph is lying below the x-axis. So f dash x is less than 0. What does it indicate? That f is decreasing. So at the 1 we can see at the 1 f dash x is 0, and before 1 the graph was increasing, after 1 the graph was decreasing, just like this is the 1 over here. Before 1 the graph was increasing, at the 1 it becomes 0, and after that the graph starts decreasing. So we can say this point is the point of local maxima. So the x equal to 1, if you see in the graph of f, if you see the graph of f, before 1 the graph was increasing, after 1 the graph was decreasing. So 1 is the point of the local maxima. So now it is the local maxima. We are looking for absolute minimum. So we have only two possibilities left at the end point of the interval, either at the 0 or either at the 2. Now second thing we see, before the 0 we don't know the graph before the 0, but by looking at this graph it looks like that it is coming from here to here, and after 2 it looks like that it is going from bottom to upward. In both the cases, in the first case it is going from bottom to upward, and in the second case also at the 2 it is also going from below to upward. So before 0 the f dash is negative, after 0 f dash is positive. So f dash negative means decreasing to increasing it is going. So at the 0 you can see before 0 the graph was decreasing, and after 0 the graph was increasing. In the same way at the 2, this is just an assumption, we can say at the 2, before 2 you can see the f dash x is negative. So the graph of f is decreasing and then it is increasing. So at the 2 and at the 0 both are the possibility for minima, but we are looking for absolute minima. Out of these two, which one is the lowest one? So now how to figure out that thing, which one is the lowest one out of 0 and the 2? So what we will be doing, we will be taking the help of fundamental theorem of calculus. So according to the fundamental theorem of calculus, what we can say, if we do the integration of this f dash x from 0 to 2, this is equal to what? This is f of 2 minus f of 0. Now what does this left hand side indicate? Left hand side indicate that we are talking about the area under the curve from 0 to 2 under this f dash x. So here we will see that this area and 1 to 2 is this area. This is the complete area from 0 to 2. Now by looking at the graph, we can clearly see that the area from 0 to 1 will be positive. Area from 1 to 2 will be considered as negative because the graph is lying below the x-axis. So this will be considered as positive, this will be considered as negative. And we can also see that the negative region is way more than the positive region. They can see the region which is occupied from 1 to 2 is larger as compared to the region occupied from 0 to 1. So this negative region is more than the positive region. So if you add both of them, the answer will still be negative. So therefore we can say f dash x from 0 to 2, that will be negative because the negative region is more than the positive region. So from here we can conclude one thing. Therefore f of 2 minus f of 0 is negative. So from here we can see that f of 2 is less than f of 0. So 0 and 2 both are qualifying for the minimum, but out of these two we can see f of 2 is less than f of 0. So therefore x equal to 2 will be the absolute minimum, the lowest value. So out of these options, option E will be the correct one, 2 will be the lowest one. I hope you have understood this beautiful question on this graph and how we compare the graph of f dash and the f. So if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and thank you for watching this.